Okay guys, so in today's episode we're actually going to do a tier maker. So you guys asked for it, so I'm going to deliver it. So what I'm going to do is I've categorized them by release, and I'm going to give you the tiers as they release and how I would rank them as they came out. However, as new tiers come in, old tiers shift down or will shift up. So with that said, the map is it's gonna constantly change as the different releases come out, in my opinion. And then obviously this is just my opinion, so there's always gonna be room for discussion, so let's keep it civil. If your favorite summoner is ranked not S tier, please do not cut my head off. So just to begin with, when Alpha came out, they brought in these 6 cards. These were the first original summoners, and you know them, you love them, and the way I would rank them is Magic, +1 Magic, S tier, +1 Archery, S tier, +1 Melee, A tier. I would do something like that. Actually, that's not fair. I would do something like that. I would say giving yourself Magic when you play Magic or Archers is really strong. +1 Melee damage, really strong, but not the best because there's Archers and Magic. Taken away, melee damage, it's okay, a little bit situational, great in only melee. The armor is okay, the HP is okay, but still nothing to write home about. But the 2 carries would definitely be the +1 Magic and the +1 Archers. Then what happened is, Beta came around and it's still the exact same 6, but then they also included some epics and some legendaries. So in terms of the epics, they're all 2 mana, no spells, but the difference is that some are better than others. So for example, you would rank these 2 far better, maybe these 3 actually, far better than you would rank these 2. So I would put these 2 in these 2 are the worst 2 mana cost ones, where these 3 are the most useful ones. So the reason you say that, let's just do that to be aesthetically pleasing. So the reason I say that is because this gives +1 melee, this gives +1 magic, and this one takes away melee. However, if you're playing a game and there's no melee, then all of a sudden you can play your Jarlax and you can still get that 1 extra mana boost. Or if there's no magic, if it's a no magic game but you still want to play your water, you can still play your Sia. And where these 2, it doesn't matter what you play, you'd still rather have 1 armor or you'd still rather have 1 HP. So these 2 are not as situational. Of course, they're still useful, this card, and so I'm going to put them actually in B tier. So the use is that they become a situational card. So I'm going to actually put situational cards in C tier. So the reason that they're going to be in C tier is just that when it's silent summoners and you just want to use the cheapest mana ones, then they have a use. Where the other ones, let's put them at B tier for now. So still a really good card, but just you'd rather have +1 magic. So this seems about right to me for now. Okay, then the legendaries came in, and in terms of packing order, I would say Magic and Archers are S tier, same as what you can see here. These are just a better version, giving the speed and the HP. I would still say melee is really strong. I would say that this time the negative speed, the negative HP, all these negative buffs put it on level with the A tier one. And unfortunately I'm going to say Peak Rider. Even though he's amazing, the 3 armor is really good and the negative arrows are really good, but I would rather use any of the other 4 above him. So at the moment, this is how I'd feel. Okay, and then we go on to promos. So as far as the promo cards go, when Prince Julian originally came out, he kind of took everyone down a peg because he was just so strong. He came out swinging. Like, I think he was 2 mana and he took away 1 HP. So he was the strongest card by far out of all the 2 summoners, and now they removed that -1 HP, but he's still one of the most stacked cards ever. He's also a status of like wealth, but in terms of what he offers, I would say He's the best 2-star and he'll replace all the other 2-stars. So for that reason, he's S tier. Same thing with the Archmage. So just giving +1/+1/+1 to everything is a great card. It's a status symbol. The +1 magic for 2 extra mana means that it's really situational. A lot of people are buying him now and he's still worth something, but that's purely because they can't afford a Elridge. But with the new addition of the Obsidian, he's definitely in my eyes worth a lot less. Same thing for the Nibby. I think just for 4 mana and having +1 speed is not worth it, especially when Pyre comes out. So for now, I would say speed, like for 4 mana, like you'd rather use the Archer, you'd rather use PJ. So I'd still put him in C tier for now, which makes me feel bad for some of these cards. I feel like they should be bumped up. So I think, yeah, I don't want to put anyone in D tier yet. So for that reason, I'm going to bump up. I feel like these guys, it's fine. This is still fine. But I definitely feel like I would use these way more than, you know what, Nibby's going to go down to D. I wouldn't use him. Okay, and then came out the +1. And with the +1, what happened is, because she's 1 extra mana, she would then kind of disrupt the Malric. But he's still better. I think Malric is still better than this, even though it's +1 and it's dragon. And then a Kench came out, and Kench is just trash, so I'm dropping Kench down there because PJ exists. Not that everyone can afford a PJ, but just Kench to me is just, like, he's a good card for levels, but now that there's cheap summoners, you don't even have to worry about a Kench. Like, that's his only value. His only value is that he's a cheap card to get to use him and climb tiers with him. But at the moment, you can still see that magic and archers are dominating the top, and then it's followed by melee damage second, and then the 2 mana ones are more of a subcategory, but still looking okay. Then Untamed came out, so let's just start with the rares. So in terms of speed, Pyre came out, and that kind of destroys Nebby. I think Pyre is in the middle of this thing. It plays with fire, but you'd still rather use the +1 damage. But it really was nice to have really fast attacking units. But then at the same time, that's what an Ember Storm's for. So I would actually drop Malridge at this point, because if you have an Ember Storm, you play the Ember Storm. If not, you play 1 attack. If not, you'll play your 1 speed. I actually should have more tiers. Okay, Wizard of the Eastwood, -2 armor. Very situational, and for that reason, I'm going to classify him as D tier. -1 magic, very strong. Going to put it at... I really like Bortus. Like, I would actually put him in A tier. But there's so many cards coming out. Okay, no, we'll leave it at A tier for now. In my opinion, Bortus was one of the highlights of this game. Mother Carla came in, and that's basically on par with the Nature's one. So now you've got either 1 HP or 1 armor for your life. -1 archer damage, -1 HP, -1 melee. Which one do I value more? I think -1 melee is better. Okay, +1 armor. I'm gonna say D tier. Like, there's a use for it, but the extra mana and for dragon is not worth it when compared to what you get with life. So for that reason, I'm classifying it as D tier. -1 melee damage. So when this card came out, it's the same mana as the original one from Death, and you get access to all the dragon cards. So for that reason, Death would then drop down 1. Okay, moving on to the legendaries. Okay. It's a little tough, but in my mind, Jotun S tier, Llama S tier, Kitty S tier. The value you get out of these 3 cards is equal to, if not the same as, your Valnamor and your Archer. I still prefer Valnamor and the Archer, but these cards are definitely on par with them. Chances, I'm going to say, is B tier. He's very situational, but he's a really good card. I just think no one's really activated him. And then Little, same thing. I think I love these cards so much, but I still feel like there's a time and a place for them. Mimosa is A tier. Like, I think these cards are worse than Mimosa, but they definitely do have a special place in my heart. Okay, I'm still liking the look of this. Maybe Bortus should come down when compared to these cards, but I think out of the Untamed cards, Bortus is still really valuable for a 3-mana card, and I'm a bit biased, so I like my Bortus up there. Okay, Dice. As soon as Dice came out, everyone's expecting Crowling to come up in number like S tier. Honestly, Crowling's really strong in bronze and low silver. But after that, once you're fighting for silver leaderboards and once you play in tournaments, it becomes a situational card where you'll just use it for like melee matchups, and even then it's still not the best. So it depends on what league you're playing. If you're playing in bronze, it's S tier. Nothing will beat it because bronze tiers, there's a lot more low mana games and your cards are not leveled up. So just having a card that, because also there's not many cards that do a lot of damage. So whenever you get hit by a melee card, you then return 2 damage. So Crowling's king of bronze. But if you're playing in silver, gold, or diamond, or champion, Crowling's honestly like a B tier. But I'm going to average it out at an A tier because I think most of you guys watching will be in the lower leagues. So for that reason, Crowling is an A tier, but as you climb up, it drops to a more of a situational card, to be honest. Okay, pierce damage, D tier. Situational, but even then, you'd rather have 1 melee damage or speed. I think it's a decent card, and it's really well priced for its cost. But I definitely think that the other 2 3-mana cost summoners are better, and then of course the legendaries are way better. Okay, Bright. I love Bright. D. I'm gonna say B. So 4 mana, but really good with flying. I will say that as the new rewards cards have come out and they all have flying, there's a lot less you don't actually need to play her or him, and you can go down to C. But he's between B and C purely because he's a very situational card. But I think for like months I had a 90% win rate with him, purely just for Earthquake games. But just, yeah, as I said, with the new addition of more immunity cards and a lot more flying cards, his value has dropped. So you can argue that he can be C tier. So for now we'll keep him at B, but we could drop him later. Vera, like I said, I would like, if there's an E tier, she should be E. The net is not the best. She does have a special place in my heart. She was the first summoner I got to level 3, I think, when I first started this game. So she's really cheap and affordable, but just attacking and always hitting flying targets is not good enough to justify her over all the other water summoners. Okay, Lorana. So, plus Divinity Shield is so strong. Like, the pricing of these cards, it's very misleading. Like, this card, when you get into Gold League and above, is so strong. Because you're blocking some big hits, and it's by far the best life, especially in the 3-mana. I would even say it's better than a Peak Rider. So for that reason, I'm actually moving Crowling and Bortus down. And then, yeah, cool. We can put Crowling there. So she's so strong. Like, honestly, in terms of dice summoners, I would put her up there. I think she absolutely breaks the game. Same thing for an Oswald. I think both of these cards are I think these are my favorite dice summoners, and then Crowling would be third. Yeah, okay, never mind. We're keeping Crowling in A, but Crowling should actually be a B tier. So Dice was quite a cool pack because you either got some of these amazing summoners or you got the like 2 worst ones in the game. And then what's next? Oh shit, we're ready. Okay, so now we're near the end. So +1 archer damage for life. It's good, but for 4 mana in bronze, it's really bad. The higher up you get, the better it gets. We can put it in B for now. Let's just think. Okay, let's put this back. Okay, so Tasa Ruins. In my opinion, Tasa came in and just ruined everything. Like, I love her, but because of her, she absolutely destroyed a Malric, because you no longer needed +1. You get +1, and then for 1 more mana, you get 1 more HP. And then for 1 more mana, you would get the Ember Storm, where you can get -1 HP on your enemy and -1 speed. So it kind of destroyed Malric, in my opinion, because you'd always play Tasa over a Malric. And then because of that, I think Ember Storm, honestly, like, he's still really good and you'd still want to own him, but because of the price difference, you'd rather sell him and own a Tasa. I own him and I'm trying to sell him to buy a Tasa. Like, the price difference is not worth it. So from a price perspective, Tasa would push him down, but for now we'll keep him at A still. But Tasa just came in and I'm so upset. Because they changed life, they gave life archers, they gave death, sure enough, they gave death more counter your enemy options. They turned like earth into magic, and they turned water into melee. But then they were just like, nah, fuck, let's just keep fire is melee. So I'm quite upset. It basically destroyed Ember Storm and Alric just with 1 card. But hey, not my opinion. +1 speed, +1 armor for 4 mana is so strong. Like, a lot of these 4 cost cards basically push a 1 HP or 1 speed. Like, they'll push all of these cards even lower, and that's just because if you combine them, that's 6 mana, but you're suddenly getting it for 4 mana. So it's always, these cards will always be more valuable than the older ones, except for the fact that, yeah, like some of these 5 mana ones, you'd then just argue are an upgrade up. Okay, Obsidian, really strong. As you can see, magic, like +1 magic will always be very strong. -1 magic and -1 HP, so it kind of messed with Cryptomancer a little bit, but not too bad, because I still prefer Cryptomancer over him. But I'd put him on level with Bortus. If not, he might have messed Bortus up and pushed Bortus down. So I could see this happening. Quinks, like, this is the problem. Really strong card. Like, what this offers basically would push certain other cards down. Like Brighton would have to go down, because for 4 mana you get far more value out of him than you would a Brighton. And then General Sloan, good card, but not nearly as good as these two, so it's a C tier. So if you review these cards, what would then happen is, because we've got more magic options, and because we've got more anti-magic options, with the death having way more anti-options, you then have to push this to D tier. Is there a way to make it? No, it's not E tier. So this 4 mana speed is completely gone. For life, when it comes to 1 HP, with the options that you now have with magic or with thorns, you also would want to push it down. Like, it's actually quite sad, but I guess that's just how it works. The new cards come in and push down and replace the old. I'm still the most upset with Tasa. I think she absolutely fucks over the old fire cards. I'm quite happy with Obsidian turning life into magic. I'm happy with Crindle or whatever her name is, changing water from magic into melee. The death one, I honestly think he might mess Rotwell a little bit, but still not too bad. I still think this is the best life summoner by a mile. I think General Sloan, especially for low tiers, is just not valuable compared to the other ones.
So please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you want me to do next. And if you're a new player, please use the promo code and I'll happily send you the $0.5 back to you. It just lets me know that people are watching and using the promo, and I'm helping new players join the community. Also, if you find me on the Discord, just pop me a message. I'll happily delegate any of the new players some power.